Oh, thank you. And with that, let's start that fun. Call the meeting to order. We've got a quorum, a full house. First order of business is to accept minutes of the May 22nd regular meeting. Do I have a motion? Second? Second. Okay. Any further discussion?
Wonder the second Warren.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next up is to accept minutes of the May 30th special meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
I actually have a question about this one. They are great minutes and I appreciate you taking the time to do them. I'm just wondering, because this was a bit of a job interview, if this falls within any kind of, I know it wasn't,
Right.
it was not an executive session, and so from that perspective, I mean, I guess we should publish them. I am just cognizant of the fact that at the time, we thought we had one applicant and we had received a second applicant. So I'm just a bit hesitant to put them out there in the public having, and not knowing that another interview is coming. So,
Well, they're actually out there. I think I had included them in the packet that went out.
okay,
Well, get them, so.
okay, so it could be that it is what it is. I just,
What do you-
I
what
wanted
say
to
you,
ask a
John?
question.
You don't know.
Well, if they were included, it sounds like the barn door's been.
yeah, it's been open. Okay.
Barn
Okay.
door. I like that. barn.
Then without any further questions, discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All right. Visitor comments. Is there anybody here for anything that is not already on the agenda? Okay,
I don't know if Cresco wants to speak.
Hi,
now.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to add mine here now. I can.
sure, go ahead, Cressica. It's not on the agenda, so. you
Okay,
can go ahead and we can talk about it now.
Okay, thank you. So I just shared with you a draft letter of support for the Clean Energy to Communities Technical Assistance Program from the Energy Committee. And I just wanted to give it to you so that you could review it. And if you have any thoughts or comments, feel free to share them with me via email or anything. Thanks.
Thanks. No, I read the letter. I know we supported signing a letter in concept at our last meeting. I appreciate you drafting it, and I'm personally comfortable signing it as written if others feel like you've had a chance to review and feel comfortable.
Yeah, I'm happy to sign it.
All right, do I have a motion?
So.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you, Cressica.
Thank you all so much.
All right, next up, ferry service update, and John is with us in person. That could be good news or bad news.
Well, this is a recent development. To bring up to speed, we had a advisory board meeting recently, and the most substantive thing is that the new tariff is still in the works. The target date is July 1, but it's not under the control of DOT. It's under the Administrative Procedures Act. It needs to be run by the Attorney General's office and then submitted to the Secretary of State's office for publication. So their target date is July 1, but who knows? But it is in the works.
Do you know how much notice we need to be given before when they say this is what the final number is and when it's enacted?
It will be published by the Secretary of State's office, and supposedly notice will be given to us as well. So, are you being?
That sounded like my ringtone, Tom, come on.
Sorry.
I think you can safely assume that their proposal is probably, I mean, I doubt very much that they're going to come up with a resident rate or a senior citizen rate or anything like that. They didn't seem very inclined to do that. So I would not expect any surprises, but hey, who knows, you know, we made our pitch.
Yeah.
And here's the reason I'm here, because we also made our pitch about the new ferry. So let me bring you up to speed. I made copies for everyone. I could have written exhibit A, B and all that stuff, but I didn't want to get too legal about it. A is the December 9, 2021 letter that we sent to then General Manager Mark Higgins following the ferry survey we conducted, which was 2 parts. It took place the prior late October, early November. And the letter included a summary of the ferry questionnaires and a brief recitation of the actual results. And that was done in 2 parts. It was, the first part was a general, what do you like about the ferry service? What don't you like about the ferry service? And the second part was, what do you like about our current ferry and what don't you like about our current ferry? And the letter kind of summarized that. It was signed by, I guess, everyone but you, Pete, but it was basically that we understood that the current plan was to replace the Margaret Chase Smith with a double-ended electric powered vessel, and the select board said we're entirely favor of that. And the next thing was an open deck configuration would be preferable to the current lane setup. And in addition, we believe consideration should be given to deck level passenger accommodations, bathroom facilities, and walk-on passenger luggage storage. And that was based in part on the fact that when we did the survey, the second part of the survey, there were about 87 respondents. Some responded to everything. It was a little bit subjective because some people responded to some things and not others, particularly the second part. But the highest, 47 people actually said, had complaints about the lanes on the Margaret Chase Smith. And the fact that they couldn't get out of their cars, they had difficulty getting on, they smacked the little restraining things, the guardrails, et cetera, et cetera. 47 people said that, which was the reason for the comment that an open deck would be nice. And then in May of 2023, well, I think it was actually April. I'm trying to reconstruct this. It's a little bit difficult because we're right in the middle of when Mark Higgins resigned his position as general manager and Bill Geary became what is now called the executive director. What B is here is what was given to me, I think, by Mark Higgins. And he did tell me it was a concept, but
In 2022.
Well, it's dated, no, excuse me, it's actually dated. It was created by Gilbert and Associates in Braintree, Massachusetts. It's the little box here that you can't read because it's so
Looks like August
small.
2022.
It says, it actually says,
Your shade's got good eyes.
you do have good eyes.
It's like the smallest print.
It looks like 8/22 to me.
I have, well, that date, I have October 14, but I'm not, I can't see it right
Looks
here.
like 12, some 19, 22.
Okay, well, let me see here. Let me,
I need a magnifying glass. You should have something there.
well, that's not critical to this analysis, but
I'm just,
in any, I differentiated between there's another one coming. Anyway, this was given to me as a concept. And I looked at it and, I just had a couple of things that came to mind. And the seating, there is seating at the deck level on this one, which is good. It only holds 32 cars, which is not good because what we're getting, it's going a little bit longer. And the reason it doesn't is because the rescue boat is put on the deck
Hmm,
where,
instead of,
instead of up above. Which is, but, you know, this was a concept at the time. The thing that concerned me the most was the total seating, I think, was in the fifties.
Hmm.
And, that, made me worried because I know that a lot more than 50 people, I mean, you have to plan for the maximum amount. And a lot more than 50 people ride that first boat over here in the morning.
mhm.
And so when I looked at it, I got in touch with the new executive director, Bill Geary, and said, can we have a chat? And over the phone, I said, we get ridership results, but we don't get each boat, but I know they keep track of them because they have to under the postcard regs, so. Can you get a count, try to get it, and this was given to me in, April, so I said, can you get a count, and try to get a count before school gets out? Because we want the students
Yeah.
included too, because you want to go for your max. And as it turns out, it averages about a little over 100 on that boat. It can be a bit more, but about 100. And I said, well, we got to do something about this. Anyway, I went and met with Bill on Tuesday, the 23rd of May of last year. It was his second day on the job, but I happened to be down in down in Rockland, so I bowled my way in and we had a chat about this. And I said, you know, that ain't gonna cut it, but it's in progress and la-di-da, so. And since that time, I've been kind of on them to keep us in the loop, so to speak, as to what's going on. I haven't been hearing very much. The most I heard was that ABB had been given the contract for the propulsion of the vessel, which I thought was a good thing because ABB has a lot of experience in the field and has a fairly good reputation, but I hadn't heard anything else. And then you go to D. This is Memorial Day weekend. So it's about a year down the road from seeing the concept. And Bill Geary sent me an email saying he wanted to share the latest design details on the Mitchell with me. And he forwarded I don't know this Karen Cox, but I assume she has something to do with Gilbert and Associates. And so now they're talking 59 seats in the port cabin, 52 seats in the starboard cabin, 59 outdoor. But he also sent me E. Well, E is not what I saw a year ago. In fact, E, when I look at it, looks remarkably like the Margaret Chase Smith. And I just looked at it, I said, well, how did this happen? And so I had a discussion with Bill and I said, oh, I should go back. And that day that I met with him on the second day of his job, one of the things I did do as a follow-up, because I knew he was new to the whole operation, was I sent him a copy of our letter to Mark Higgins of December 9, along with the ferry service results. And that was also copied over to Bill Pulver at DOT. And I also have made note of the fact that we did this survey and at the advisory board level, so everybody knows that we did the survey, this, that, and the other thing. So I saw this and I went, well, that's not what I saw before. So I called Bill and you know, I kind of explained the whole history with the survey and kind of reminded him that we had sent everything and la-di-da. And I said, so, and he said he'd look into it, and I hadn't heard back from him, so I sent him an email yesterday, knowing that you folks were having a meeting today. And also I write article from Maggie Wilcox on the ferry, and I'm like, well, what do I say? But that's a minor point, but you know, it was just the time frame. And I actually had a conference call yesterday with not only Bill Geary, but Bill Palmer. And they weren't particularly specific about how this came about, but apparently, if I understand my conversation with them, there were 3 concepts being considered. And here we are. With no input from, other than sending the survey results. No input and no conversation between us and the town, and us, the town, the ferry service, Gilbert and Associates, or DOT.
So is this the final design that they are working to build now, or where does they stand? from that perspective?
It's not, before I answer that, Shane, I read 12/9/21 on this one. I kind of expanded my PDF so I could read these things, but I can't.
I can't read that date.
But in any event, the point being is this, which I first saw the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, has been around since December of 2021, I believe. But be that as it may. Now, what was your question? I'm sorry.
My question is, where do they
Oh, where
stand
do we stand now?
in the design and building process? I guess, how have they mapped out with the project? Like, when is it gonna be finalized? Is it final?
I didn't quite get a complete answer, but I'm pretty sure that this is what they're planning to be the final product.
And how many seats is in that one?
This one has more seats, but it's also got 3 lanes. So, and I don't, you know, I've mentioned this before to them, you know, what the town asked for in this has been done in Europe. There's a ferry vessel called the Ellen. It's not a, two-way, it's not a double ender. And the reason it's not is that the transit route that goes on is 28 miles. It's electric. And for that route, they want to go more knots than a generally is allowed for a double ender, which is somewhere between 10 and 14. But it is open decked. I think it seats close to 300 people, and everyth's on the deck level. And it's virtually the same length and the same width as ours. So, and I'm, you know, and I mentioned this to these fellows yesterday, and I said, I'm not asking you to, you know, replicate the Ellen. I'm just saying that, you know, the kind of stuff that we were asking for can be done. And, but anyway, the distinct impression I got was that this is what they're going to, you know, I mean, nobody's laid a keel yet. And as far as I know, this is not design ready yet. I mean, construction ready yet. It's still in the design phase. But, you know, I was a little suspicious when they awarded Gilbert and Associates the contract to design this boat, because Gilbert and Associates designed the Margaret Chase Smith. And I think this is just the easy solution. So that you know, I don't know what, you know, the ultimate, this thing's gonna be a little bit wider than the Maggie. So, I mean, maybe it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I'm very offended by the process. Or I should say the non-existent process, at least as far as we're concerned.
Right.
No,
You know, do you know how how was the process when they built the Vinyl Haven ferry most recently? I mean, was there any kind of community engagement that you're aware of from talking with the other advisory committee members?
I don't think there was a lot of input there, but there's been a lot of discussion at the advisory board that the towns should have some input into the product. And I do think that they're trying to create a class of ferry because that's beneficial too. But this thing would not, this one wouldn't be in that class anyway, because we're kind of, just because of the differences in service. This particular ferry, like the Maggie, is not like anything else that the ferry service has. And this one probably won't be either. So, I, you know,
I mean,
I don't know what the big three takeaways from the survey was alternate power, double-ended, so we don't have to turn the thing around, and open deck. So, I guess if you want to be sanguine about it, 2 out of 3 is better than 0 out of 3, but this is just becoming a very frustrating thing. I mean, we've just gone through the tariff situation, and as I was saying, I don't expect any difference, and I thought that we and other towns made some very good points about the tariff that were just didn't. They weren't welcomed, let me put it that way. And but this one, I mean, what more can you do? Phil Seymour and I spent a lot of time on the survey. We sent it to everybody. We talked about it at the advisory board. I talked about it on the second day that Bill Geary was in office and sent this to him again. And it's like, huh? So
I mean, at this stage, is it helpful to have a letter from the select board? I guess just indicating that, we've been getting regular updates from you, that we would appreciate understanding how the community can be engaged in the process as it goes forward, and where there are opportunities for comments that can impact the design at this phase and
during the conversation yesterday, Bill Pulver was on the call, and he told me that they were going to try to recreate exactly what was going on when apparently there were 3 concepts that were being considered. And, frankly, I don't know if our input ever got to Gilbert and Associates. If I were working for Gilbert and Associates, I'd probably be pushing what I just received, because why not? It's already in the books. But, I honestly don't, I think we're gonna get some more information from DOT, but I just thought I better let you folks know what is going on here, because this came out of nowhere from my perspective. So.
We'll wait and see if they give us a little more info, and then just in 2 weeks, come back to the thought of writing a letter. And I was saying, wait, maybe we give it some more thought, wait for more info, give it 2 weeks, then we make the motion to write the letter. I mean, it sounds all par for the course for the DOT, quite frankly, from all our experiences in the past 5 or 10 years with them.
I can't tell you how disappointed I am. I've been working with these folks for a long time now, and a lot of times I don't push hard because I'm trying to, or as hard as I could, because I'm trying to develop a working relationship with them. This is not a working relationship.
So you've been great. We appreciate you going to bat for us so often. It's a shame that who you're batting to is not catching the damn thing.
It's almost becoming, for me, an exercise in self-flagellation.
Those are thick lines on those folks too.
I know that we should be thoughtful about this, because we don't want to write something or do something that will get us into less of a relationship and less of opportunity to exchange and get involved. But on the other hand, you've been trying to no avail. Obviously, all of a sudden they come up with something that doesn't reflect at all what you've been sharing. So at what point do you get a little bit more assertive and say, we're very disappointed with the fact that our liaison, we do not see the effort that has been put in by our community to have input reflected in the final product. Could you explain why that kind of input has not been received and acted on? I'm ad-libbing here, obviously, there need to be.
Oh, yeah, I think you're ad-libbing pretty well, actually. But, Bill Pulver said he would get back to me, so maybe what I could do is email him and say there's a fair amount of concern. I told him, I said, I don't know what the reaction of the community is going to be, but the fact that literally half the people who were surveyed did not like the configuration of the vessel and wanted that changed was pretty significant. I mean, that was the highest one we have.
No,
And, if he gets back to me, then I can come back in 2 weeks and we can talk about an appropriate response. But
okay.
I don't know. I just don't know what else to say, really.
I'd have to go as far as to message Karen Cox here and ask her if she was made aware of the community input surveys that were done. It's just a simple question of, hey, are you aware that these were even put out previously? Because if they never did give them to Geary, at least then you threw them in there somehow to them.
I could do that, or I could just ask Bill Pulver to tell us what
Bill
kind of.
Pulver's had them. And if you didn't give them to them, then
Bill Pulver's had them, Bill Geary's had them. I mean, I disseminated them as widely as I could.
I'm just trying to think of a different way to get them into.
And have on record whether or not what was done with our information. If you can get the person who's been contacting from JWG to say, oh, I never even saw it. Then it feels like just another arrow in our quiver to be like, look, what the hell happened to what we did and all of our hard work and.
Yeah. Let me start with them. I'll send you a draft of a brief email to Bill.
Okay.
And I'll just, Bill Pulver, and I'll just say there's a lot of concern about the fact that well, we don't even know whether our input was considered.
Right.
But, what weight was it given, blah, 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 and that kind of thing. But, sorry about that.
No, I mean, thank you for
yeah.
the update and thank you for continuing to fight the good fight. And it's frustrating, but
I don't know how much longer this is gonna go on.
don't do anything rash.
But apropos of your, if we get a tariff that has resident rates and senior citizen rates and commuter
Oh, yeah.
rates, that would salve the wound.
Yeah, might mention that in our letter.
Yeah,
All right,
well, thank you.
okay, thanks, guys. Sorry to make that longer than it should have been, but
No,
frustrating. I'll try to come to your next meeting. Okay,
Thank you.
Going to be,
is that the one that's on
18th, yeah,
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yeah, okay. I saw that on the calendar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have an enjoyable evening.
Rather than the 4th of July?
No, it's Juneteenth. It falls on Wednesday, so, for me, it's Tuesday, the 18th.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, next up, sea level rise update. On your, desk, Carrie handed out, a visual kind of calendar that Liv has put together to try to keep the sea level rise committee on task. And I wanted to share it with you guys because there's a couple of really important things coming up and, decision points. So I just want to make sure that I get your feedback about when and how to share information in a way that feels most hopeful for everyone. So next Wednesday, June 12th, is when GZA is gonna be presenting their, alternatives analysis. It'll be, here via Zoom and in person. GZA will be here, will be in Zoom. But that's gonna be the first time that we're gonna see what their, you know, kind of the package of what they are proposing. Kind of following that presentation, we have, you know, kind of a month to, get questions answered, do a lot of community outreach to help inform, which alternative we asked them to bring forward to a 30% design. So just kind of as a reminder, they have 3 alternatives, and then they'll be looking for feedback from us to, for what to move forward. Again, not to final design, it's to 30% preliminary design. There's still lots of work that needs to happen. But what I imagine and what the Sea Level Rise Committee is working towards is to have a number of community conversations and to make sure that the select board feels informed about what the options are, so that, and comfortable with having the Sea Level Rise Committee have a recommendation that we would ask the select board to endorse at our July 17th meeting. That would allow the engineering firm to then begin their preliminary design work, and then they develop their report for us that would come in November, kind of December timeframe. So I just wanted to share this. I think it was a great visual for Liv and helping keep a lot of complicated pieces presented in a clear way, and just ask if anybody had any questions or concerns or feedback. I know one of the things that I'm particularly sensitive about is the fact that all of this, you know, all of the information is kind of coming down at the busiest time of year for everyone, where it is, we will do our very best to do a lot of community outreach, but I also recognize that everyone is 100% at capacity. So, again, as we move forward, this isn't the end all be all, any, you know, we're not asking for necessarily any decision. We're not asking for any decision that has monetary impact. We're not asking for money at this stage, but we do want to make sure that as we get to that next round of 30% design, that, that we feel like we have the ability to have questions answered, and that, you know, this group feels comfortable in what is recommended moving forward. So
How is it, Liv, who's gonna be putting this out, announcing the June 12th, 5 to 7:30?
So I will talk with Liv tomorrow, because ideally we'd want to put it out via Constant Contact, have posters up.
Yeah.
Because I would like to get as many, I hope that, I know, again, it's an incredibly busy time of year, but if, I'd love to have the select board be able to attend if you are able. We definitely want to encourage the public to attend, because it's the best time when we'll have the engineers there, and we have allowed for plenty of time with them to make sure that they can really get grilled about what.
Where are you having it?
Was gonna have it here. I still, I mean, I think this is a good place for the Zoom, but I am a little bit nervous that we might have more people attending in person than this room can accommodate comfortably.
Right.
Is a school an option? No.
I was looking at, I had this sinking sense of, oh no, I missed something.
No, we planned on this room, and it could be that we encourage people to participate via Zoom. The engineering firm is going to be there on Zoom, and so it's not like the, speakers are going to be here in person, so I feel like the online presence will be just as, impactful as
Nice.
in person.
I don't like the ICC, if you get the Great Hall of the ICC and get there,
And the
or
same thing.
as crazy as it might sound, fire barn. If we just park the trucks outside for an hour and the chairs in there or something maybe.
I think
I don't know.
the accommodation of Zoom is where you have,
Yeah,
the ICC would be more feasible.
do they do
It's
it
to
in the
project it
room,
somewhere.
For what?
in the community center, do they? Cause I know the acoustics in there are kind of,
Do they do Zoom and I have no idea. I would imagine that they're.
I don't think they have a
establishing clear. It might not be as crisp and clear as this, but
I don't know if, that the library could, and the ICC, I believe, can do Zoom, but I'm not sure about, the Historical Society.
And they're gonna have an art show in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I think what we may have to do is push these
Yeah.
chairs aside, put up seating, and then just make sure that we really advertise the Zoom, because, I do think, I wanna make sure that we are at a place that's tested to have the technology work. Because that will be a key factor in having it go well.
have her mention refreshments too. Other people.
I was gonna say, if I'm worried that we might.
No, because we don't want too many people.
Say, there will be no refreshments.
Oh.
If you stay home and do it by Zoom, you can have
Oh,
your.
oh, I see.
We will do a word drawing for Zoom. No, I mean, I think the point is that we want to encourage a lot of participation, and
But not in person.
I would love to get. And so I would love to get participation at the thing that would max out this room, and so it's hard to both advertise it and recognize that the room, I'm concerned, is going to be a limiting factor.
I volunteered to be the select board on Zoom,
I heard you say you were going, excellent, thank you.
but I will be on Zoom.
Does anybody have any questions, other questions, comments, concerns?
Suggestion?
Yeah.
After it's done, if we can figure out a way to put it out so people can rewatch it.
Yeah.
Or if they're, stepped away, stuff like that, you'll get a lot more engagement with it that way also.
Great idea.
So,
We will definitely make sure that it is available on a link, and we will have their report. I think actually at that presentation, they're going to present and then give us their final report, in July, so that feedback that they hear from the community will hopefully be incorporated into their final report.
Nice.
That is the hope. Let's hope that they are not the DOT. Any other questions, comments, feedback?
I do have a question for clarification.
Mm-hmm.
The June sixth, blue square.
6.
And then the purple square for Sea Level Rise Committee, June 4th, meeting June 6th. Has 2 dates on there.
It's a good question. We met yesterday on June 4th.
Mhm.
And we have not yet been provided the alternatives analysis. I have not seen any draft of it yet, so.
Okay.
I anticipate at this point that the first thing that we will see is the presentation. They could send out maybe the presentation ahead of time, but, that is as yet unclear to me. Any other questions? All right, municipal building.
Well has been drilled, and, everything's moving forward. I don't have anything really big to announce, but that's done. So, Yahoo.
Yeah, I think 550 feet.
550 feet, yeah, they had to go to 550 feet to get the, gallons per minute up to, what is,
10 to 12.
yeah, 12.
And I think everybody decided today finally where to put that annex. I think we're gonna try to put it out back here off the pavement. Instead of one place they wanted to put it. We always thought it was gonna go in where Merck did his chicken, in that
Right.
area. But they said, no, it would have to be moved a couple times, then they wanted it on the edge of the parking lot over there, then they wanted it in front of the town office, I said, no.
Is anything still in the annex?
Yes, yes, all her equipment, she still uses it for blood draw,
Gotcha.
and if they had someone who was they suspected was COVID, they would take someone else in there.
It had to be, you had to have power, so.
Yeah,
it's
needs
a big
power.
question about where to put it, that we can make sure we have the power, and some
Right.
places we couldn't have put up, CMP wouldn't do it.
Or it's been a long time,
Yeah.
and that needs to go.
Right away.
Yeah, after her next.
Right in the way of all the construction that's gonna
Yeah.
start.
Any questions for Lauren? Okay, next up, upcoming meetings and subcommittee reports, planning board June 17th. Sea level rise presentation on June 12th.
Town meeting, June 15th.
All right. Town managers report.
All right, and I would just mention to you, first of all, the letter that you signed was one that was coming up on the new business, so the one that's
Oh.
still up there was the one from, I just wanted to let you know that. so.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
All right,
From Corsica, that one?
yeah, it just got swapped with the one from, another letter going to Pete Buttigieg about, support for the ferry. So hope
We're
you
just
all-
really trying to expedite things
I hope you
here.
all are gonna support it, yeah. In your packets, I've given you a copy of a mailing, or I'm sure they did put it out on Facebook, and I don't know if Tina's been in on constant contact, but it's from Grinnell Point Light Station regarding the ship model Puma that was damaged in the storm. And Wally Veazey has been working on it in Florida. It was shipped to him, and he's lovingly working on that. I've given you 2 copies of 2 different tax abatement requests. There were applications that, came in to our assessors here, and they denied them. Then people can go on to Walden County Commissioners Court, and they both were denied over there. So just so you know, they wanted the select board to have a copy of that. I've given you May's Bar Harbor Wealth Management, our capital reserve sub-accounting. Housing Committee minutes from March 26th. And then John King's packet for the doc also.
Sorry, Janet, can I just interrupt and just appreciate really quickly, the minutes are just incredibly thorough.
Oh, yes.
I'm just looking at, all of the minutes from our meetings, but then
I know.
the housing committee, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. It's like if you weren't there, you can read it and know what went on.
That's my hope. My intention.
And I was hoping, I did email Kristen, I was hoping she might have got back to me about that date, but,
We can
No,
check that
yeah.
again by the end of at the end of the.
I wanted to let you know that paving is going to begin next Monday, the 10th. Though it should be probably 3 days, maybe. Ruthie James, Reevy Road, the Narrows by the stone wall, other culverts, up by Solendi's, that big section where they we had to put in a culvert, and then they put in their dock area. And a culvert across from Earl Mackenzie's property, that's been replaced, and there's a couple down on Pelton Point Road also. And the roadway up at Meadow Pond, near Maynard Hall's camp, there's an area there that's just beyond repair, patching, it's just bad, so we're doing that, so. That's it for me.
I can bring it back up again, but are you doing the entirety of Ruthie James?
I'm doing, yes, Ruthie James, and I hope Reevy Road. 2 roads,
Yes, we've been over this.
yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map back there, that's why I'm asking about whether or not you're gonna do
Oh,
up
Yeah.
the main road all the way down and back up again, or?
well, from Main Road, it's Reedy Road to where it goes blue. So, yes, and then it goes to, Ruthie Jones. Any other questions about that road?
I just, my address is 118 Ruthie James Road. On the second,
what?
my address is 118 Ruthie James Road,
Right,
and I'm the second house on the left-hand side.
but the first one, you're talking about, that belongs to,
It's kind of low, so.
yeah, that's been there 100 years. That was there
Right,
way
so-
before any subdivision went down that road.
So he's Ruthie,
He's Reedy,
I'm Ruthie.
correct, and across the road, Hammond, those are houses that were there long before that subdivision.
I guess just a question that I have, since that is, you know, a dead end road, is there any communication that we need to have with the residents? As I imagine ingress and egress might be challenging during the paving time.
I can find out what day he's going to do there. I mean, and I
Yeah.
can put out a message.
I do think that would be helpful.
Yeah, the Delaney's, I think, have done with some medical situations. So it might be wise to.
I think it'll be quick, too. I mean, it's not gonna take up the whole day, I imagine.
Yeah, but it is,
But
it's enough of
yeah.
a disruption that it would be good to at least give people a heads up that it's gonna be happening.
Maggie, it's gonna happen. Maybe she can put the word out on the
Will
street.
happily stay in my house and watch.
Oh,
All right, anything else for you? Any questions for Janet? All right. No other correspondence, no old business. Our new business was to sign the MDOT request for the letter of support for the Lincolnville Islesboro Ferry Terminal upgrade.
thank you. We
To
already
make
did
it
one
official
earlier.
before we make sure we don't want to shred that one.
No, no,
Does
no.
anyone want to make a motion to sign that letter of support?
Second.
Any further questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's official. No other business. Let's approve warrant number 25 for FY 24.
Motion to approve FY 24 is most, warrant, number 25.
Second.
2425.
Any questions, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. No appointments tonight, and I have no further comments.
No comments.
Well, I'll have all the comments. I want to thank everyone that came out to help support the junior class last weekend. They had a very successful auction and they were very pleased with their turnout. Also want to congratulate Jacob Solomon and Logan Burns for making it to state varsity track. And bringing home medals and finishing in the top 11 for all of their events and everything that they did.
Wow, good for them.
Logan got 6, got 6, got 10, and then Jacob got 11. And so it's perfect.
All right. With that,
Oh, and graduation is the 8th. 6th, no,
8th.
8th.
Saturday.
Graduation is the 8th at noon. Yes. Comes and done.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So no. That's it.
Thank you all.
Oh, yeah.